Okay, welcome to our next Security Middle East webinar. My name is Dan Norman. I'm the chair for the SME Fireside Chat. And joining me today is Sanjit Bardhan. He's got significant experience in the security sector. He's worked for a number of large security brands in leadership roles. He joined HID back in 2020 as VP of Emerging Markets for Physical Access Control Solutions. And in July, he took up the new challenge of Vice President and Head of Global Mobile Business for HID Global's Physical Access Control Solutions. So welcome, Sanjit, to the SME channel. And I'm really excited to be exploring this particular topic across security, being mobile access. So my first question really for you, Sanjit, is what is mobile access and why should organizations care about it?
Right, thanks, Dan. First of all, I'd like to say I really appreciate this opportunity. It's great to be here and great to be in a position where I could talk about this great technology that exists today and a technology that's essentially going to transform the industry of physical access control solutions. Mobile access, basically mobile access is the idea of taking your physical credential, and instead of using your physical credential, you end up using a mobile device, which could be a phone, a tablet, a wearable like your smartwatches, etc., and use that as a credential to access your access control system. It's the new way. It's where the industry is moving towards these digital platforms, and I'm glad we are leading this today in the industry.
So you mentioned there sort of a transformational next step in the industry. In your opinion, what's driving the adoption though for mobile access?
Yeah, I mean, the entire concept of the digital era, for example, I mean, people are moving to digital platforms. Digital platforms provide a lot more use case benefits for an end user or a particular user. With digitization becoming the norm and becoming the mainstream method of approach for organizations, access control systems could not be left behind. It was important at that point of time when the industry was moving towards this. How do you evolve your products and portfolio to bring about solutions that sort of are in line with the concept of digitization? So in the world of access control, the credential, the physical credential, the card that you actually carry around, moving that and taking that and putting that as a virtual credential in your mobile device was the best way to go about this. That offers multiple benefits. I mean, end users are seeing various benefits around utilization of mobile access because it gives them a far better user experience. It allows them better control of their systems. It's much more convenient, and it's a much better managed system today. So this is driving, and plus, of course, there are lots of cost benefits as well in the long run in the various models of costing. So that's driving a lot. And phones are becoming a lot more powerful as well. I mean, you know, back in the day when we were using those dot matrix type phones in the printer world, we were using dot matrix printers, and now we are using smartphones, which are you can argue more powerful than computers. So as phones become more powerful, they allow a lot more features and benefits. Mobile access becomes one of those.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think every single person has a mobile device, right? So it kind of makes sense.
And a smart one, and a smart one as well. Yes.
Exactly. Well, I'd just like to deep dive a little bit into those benefits, though, for mobile access over traditional access mechanisms. And I mean, a lot of organizations I've worked for in the past still use key cards. So if you could elaborate on what are those benefits, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, think about your mobile device. It's a very personal asset that you have. You don't really necessarily pass it around to people, your friends, or sometimes even your family. Isn't it? I mean, typically the idea of losing your mobile phone is a lot less than actually losing your physical credential. Now, granted, there are lots of losses of mobile phones in the industry every year, but it's a lot less than the number of physical credentials that are lost. So naturally, the mobile device is a lot more secure for users, and having a virtual credential on the device is beneficial. Think about another concept of having to carry multiple cards in your wallet, in your pockets, and then sort of constantly looking around which card to use and in which reader, at which door, and for what application. Imagine if that was to be transformed into a mobile device or transferred to a mobile device and a mobile device has the capability of storing multiple credentials of this type. That aids to user experience, not only for the user, but imagine for the person who issues such cards. Imagine for the security operator of a building who's constantly sitting down issuing physical cards to an individual or to a group of people. It's all over the air right now. I mean, everything is done virtually. Everything is done via a system. A link is sent out, the link is clicked, and the device is already automatically enabled with the product. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the general security around it. I spoke about how the phones are becoming a lot more powerful, but at the same point of time, phones are becoming a lot more secure. The data and the cybersecurity elements are becoming a lot more powerful in mobile devices or in any kind of device that stores any kind of data of an individual. With that, the entire concept of a person's identity or a person's personal data is safely secure in a mobile device. So that's that. And plus, there are multiple other use cases as well. I mean, it's not only limited to one particular type of technology or one particular type of mobile device. There are multiple technologies available today which within the mobile device, which HID works with, allowing end users a lot more convenience, much better user experience, and of course, the security element that I spoke about.
Absolutely. Look, I think there's two key areas to unpack from what you've just said there.
Mm-hmm.
The first being improving the end user experience, and then the second has to be that additional layer of security. So
correct.
I think we'll start with the end user experience, because I try, as a security person, I always try and put myself in the shoe of the user, and they don't always necessarily care about security. It's more of the ease of use, and things like that. So if you were to unpack what you said there around the end user experience, what does the HID solution offer?
I spoke earlier about having multiple credentials, the ability of having multiple credentials in your mobile phone today. I mean, for example, I have all my credit cards in my phone's wallet. I don't have to carry credit cards around. I don't have to carry any physical card around where I have to make a payment. I carry one just in case my phone for some reason acts funny that particular day, but think about the user experience. I mean, I carry a device and that's it. Apart from this, there are lots of transport technologies, and what I'll talk about that. Like, for example, there is BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy. There is NFC, which is near field communication, which allows the communication between the device and the reader, which is accessing the device, to seamlessly allow an individual to enter a property or to make a transaction. With all these features and all these benefits, for a user, it's a lot more convenient. It's a lot more user-friendly. Today, our technology at HID, when we provide both the BLE, the Bluetooth Low Energy, as well as near-field communications transport layer, which allows users to just tap their device on the reader and the door opens, much like as if you're carrying a physical credential. The user experience is fantastic because they don't have to carry a card. The user experience is great because they've been given a link on their phone. It automatically updates, it automatically gives them access to the credential. And then let's say, for example, you lose your credential. You don't have to go back to your security director and fill up a form and get a new physical credential issued. Send out an email, you get an email back with a link, click on that link, and your phone starts working immediately with your credentials. So for both the user as well as the operator, this becomes a very, very user-friendly experience. And that's what we are trying to do. User experiences vary as well. Some users have got very complex use cases, and we consistently try to evolve our technology and evolve our products and solution to meet those demands. And I think we're doing a great job with that.
Interesting, very interesting. And then the second area that we wanted to look at there was the additional layer to security. Now, with my skeptical hat on, I think if you lose your phone, does that mean that the entire system's compromised? What are your sort of thoughts there, and how does the HID solution add an additional layer of complexity and security to the system?
Yeah, good question, because that's a very common question that we get. Well, if I lose my phone, what happens? One thing, it's the benefit of actually having something virtual. You lose your phone, your credential can immediately be revoked via the system online, and that's it. The phone becomes essentially useless in the case of an access control system. Second thing, technologies today, lots of applications today require multi-factor authentication. So if you lose your phone, somebody may steal your phone, but the second level of authentication is not possible, and as a result, again, access isn't granted. So third thing is, you're using, with the concept of mobile phone technologies or mobile access, you're using cloud-based services and systems. Cloud today, at least the HID platform that we have, has got independent accreditations of multiple levels of layers of security. Cybersecurity is obviously extremely important for us. That's, if you play in the world of mobile, you play in the world of virtual access, cybersecurity becomes a very important driver. So that's something that we are constantly doing as well. So the overall ecosystem is extremely secure. We work with technology partners as well, who provide great integration services, great applications for our end users that are extremely secure. We run validation tests, etc., to make sure that the security around the solution that's provided to an end user is flawless. So, but again, cybersecurity is a very big subject. It's a constantly evolving subject, and as a result, we are constantly evolving as well, and making sure that we are compliant with the latest and the greatest, and our products are compliant with that as well.
Fantastic. And you've alluded to some use cases throughout your responses so far. And when I think of the SME sort of users and listeners, they come from a very diverse backgrounds, lots of different industries. So what are the typical use cases for HID? If you could give a few examples, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, organizations which have a lot of employees, instead of issuing physical cards every year or at every given point of time, that's a great use case to use mobile phones as your access control. I mean, it saves out on your operating expense, because typically cards, we've done research. Research tells us that once every 2 to 3 years, people change their cards. You either lose the cards get damaged, people change roles, people change responsibilities. So there's a constant churn of cards, and that basically allows, and especially in large companies and companies which have got a lot of employees, mobile access is definitely the way to go. Lots of companies have environmental and ESG, environmental sustainability goals. The lesser the use of plastic. Now you can argue that phones consume a lot of carbon footprint as well, but then it's just that, as opposed to your phone and a physical credential. So we're trying to help out there as well. Lots of companies have reached out to us. Lots of end user organizations have reached out to us because they've got very clear ESG goals to reduce plastic. So that really helps. From a costing perspective, we run our mobile licenses on a subscription basis. It assists our end users to budget out their costs accurately. We have products which are activation based, so you pay for it when you use it, when you activate it, rather than pay for it even if you don't. So corporate real estate, for example, is a great example. We do a lot of work with some of the largest corporate real estate companies where they lease out their buildings to multiple end users. They've got reader bases. Multiple end users have got varied variety of phones, and our technologies work with the varied variety of phones, and it allows them to enter their properties and premises. So that's another use case. We're doing a lot of work with, let's say, the education vertical. We're doing a lot of work with banking and finance. A lot of work as a group, as ASSA ABLOY Group, with the hospitality industry. So hotels, for example, you've probably seen a lot of hotel chains offering mobile access to their rooms while they're on holiday or on a business trip. So all of these are great use cases in the world of mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. My mind's buzzing with all the different sort of examples that this could definitely be applied to.
And I've only scratched the surface here. I mean, I know there's so many more use cases I can talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. My one question though is around the smartphones. So, as you know, there's a ton of different smartphone devices: Android, Apple, Samsung. Are they all supported by this particular HID platform?
It's an interesting question because the smartphone industry is moving extremely fast as well. Now, thankfully, we understand this, and that's the experience of being in the world of access control and working with a lot of our smartphone partners. Today, we integrate with over 250 devices across multiple manufacturers and some of the best-known manufacturers in the industry. We have a state-of-the-art mobile user experience laboratory in one of our facilities down in South Africa, where we are constantly testing user experience with multiple types of phones and devices. As manufacturers, as phone OEM manufacturers bring out new models and new devices to the market, we make sure we get hold of them, and we make sure that we are testing our solutions with those phones, and when they are ready to be released to the market, they are compatible with our technology. So 250 devices, the number is constantly increasing. 250 devices is not a small number, by the way, in the world of mobile phones. And yeah, this keeps increasing. That's what our user experience laboratory in South Africa does, and a few other places as well. But yeah, and these are mobile devices, right? It could vary between phones and wearables, tablets, etc. So it's a big number that keeps on increasing.
Fantastic. If you were to summarize, Sanjit, why an organization should consider moving towards mobile access, what would a compelling business case look like?
Yeah, so one of them is the user experience. As I've described in some of the answers in this interview, the user experience using your mobile device is just absolutely fantastic. We've spoken about various use cases where, rather than scrambling around for multiple cards or losing your cards here and there, and just provisioning the credential from your phone, the ability to do that, the user experience is great. So that's one thing. The second thing is the cost. I mean, companies are constantly looking at ways to optimize their costs. Solutions of mobile access solutions allow you to do that, because you're on subscription models, you're on activation-based models. There are various models that are available today for our end users that allow for them to do so. Third thing is environmental and sustainability goals. I've spoken about how you reduce the usage of plastic, so to speak. I mean, it's one thing, it's in one device and it works. Cybersecurity, or the security element of this, cybersecurity is one thing, but even the security of actually owning your phone and keeping your phone close to you is a very important thing. And the last thing is, obviously, the entire world is moving towards digitization. We're in the digital era where this industry is rapidly moving forward. Mobile access is very much aligned with that. And as systems, as hardware continues to move towards digital platforms and offer digital solutions, mobile access is going to be one of them, which allows our end users and our customers to adopt to such technologies.
Okay, thank you, Sanjit. Thank you for the summary, and thank you to anyone listening to the webinar today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about HID's solution here. Sanjit, thank you so much for your time and for answering a number of these questions. It's clear to me that there's a ton of benefits and value with the HID solution, from improving security, user experience, and the cost optimizations as well. So thank you for your time, and I hope everyone on the line enjoyed the interview.
Thanks, Daniel.